Hello and welcome back. It is 4 o'clock. Welcome to the World Creativity and Innovation Week event that we're holding, sponsored by our lovely sponsors, Haggerty and Haggerty Digital Services and My Favorite Art Place. Again, thank you to them very much for sponsoring this wonderful event. To this afternoon, as our final speaker for the day, closing out the day for us, is Colette Glover-Hannah. The topic of her conversation, of her presentation, is Mompreneur, Managing Partnerships, Parenthood and Presentations that discuss the art of managing a family while doing a business. Colette is the author of Mompreneur, the book, I guess, by the same title, Mompreneur, Managing Partnerships, Parenthood, Presentations that discuss the art of managing a family while building a business.
Right.
On the other side of business, you discuss the intangibles, beginning a business, the emotional side to entrepreneurship that no one prepares the founder for as they start the lonely process of building a business, and how you navigate the emotional highs and lows to move through self-doubts. Strategic partnerships for collaborations and startups. Colette also offers educational institutions or notices they can be some of the best partners and supporters when starting a business. So how do you build a sustainable, innovative business with an incubator or an accelerator program? Colette, we're going to let you talk about all those wonderful things. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wendy. I'm so delighted to be here with you and everyone. For those who are watching live and those who are watching the recording, I'm so grateful. But before I get started, I just want to show you a quick video. So if I can share my screen, I will do that now. Okay. Well, that was just a quick introduction to my presentation today to talk about being a mompreneur, an entrepreneur who just happens. Oh, I guess I should turn that off 1 second. Go back. All right. Now we can get started. Okay, so again, I'm Colette Glover-Hannah. I'm the author or co-author of Mompreneurs, but in this capacity, I'm going to talk about my road to entrepreneurship as the founder and CEO of Hannah Shoebox. Hannah Shoebox is an e-commerce business that sells age-appropriate shoes for girls who wear women's sizes, so little girls with big feet. And we're very fortunate to now have customers throughout the United States and Canada. So I am going to show you my presentation at this time. So we can get started there. All right. So let's start with, again, Mompreneur, Managing Partnerships, Parenthood and Presentations. So welcome to today's session. Again, I'm so excited to be a part of this group. I'm so excited for the invitation to join you guys. So I'm always curious to know how many people are mompreneurs. So for those of you who are watching the recording, if this applies to you, make sure that you're sharing this with your friends, because we want to make sure that everybody can take advantage of this information. It's true what they say. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. So what are some of the reasons you decided to open a business? What's the big idea that you had? I signed up for this because I wanted to endure those long days and nights of having my own business, the long hours of conducting research and networking events, and any and every opportunity I could find to promote my business. I was there. I did it all, and I'm still doing it all, even to this day. So number one, no regrets. We often start something with the end in mind. What if we did it with our lives? And imagine it's the end of your time and you reflect. Now, what would you be the most proud of? And I'm really hoping that it's not the end for anybody, but just, imagine, what would you regret not doing? If starting a business is on the list of regrets, then let's fix it. Let's do something to change that right now. Don't try, just do it. We have a saying in my household that no one is allowed to say that I'm trying to do something, because it is our belief that you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. But we're not going to try and do something. Let's put it in motion. Let me also help you and tell you that today's the day to start doing something. I'm not suggesting that you go out and purchase a building tomorrow for your new business or this great idea, but what I am suggesting is that you begin this process of starting building today. Start using your resources to do focus groups, to validate your idea and this need for a business. If you started already, then you're already ahead of the game. The other thing is, celebrate every big win, big or small. It's important to celebrate the small things along this entrepreneurial journey, because opening a business, a bank account, creating a logo, creating colors for your logo, that first customer and reaching your first established goals are major in this journey. So I always tell people, celebrate every little thing, because you're going to find that those are the things that are going to really, truly keep you going in this journey. So it's the little things that are big things. From one of my favorite authors, Maya Angelou, you will see, nothing will work unless you do. Nothing will work unless you do. Makes sense to me. So often, the demands of entrepreneurship causes you to become overwhelmed. You become doubtful and really downright fearful, which in my opinion is a word that is underused in this industry. This can all occur before noon in one day. So many businesses have experienced this during the past year, if they are still in business today. Forces beyond your control will cause you to rethink and reroute your entrepreneurial journey. Family dynamics, financial insecurities, a pandemic, and so many other things can cause things to disrupt your entire business model. So what then? This is when you come back and you have to ask yourself, why? Always go back to why. Start with why. You have to go back to the why. And in this moment, this is when you're going to dig deep and become even more innovative, creative, and you're going to create something that's new and improved from the version that you originally started. This is basic business survival techniques. You must do it. And you have to be able to pivot on a dime. So the business that you started may not be the business that you end up with. I've seen it over and over and over again, where a business would start out with a particular model, and because of circumstances beyond their control, they pivot and actually realize that that new model is actually more lucrative than the former model. So it happens. You just have to be open, and you have to be able to say, I'm willing to change. I'm willing to do this. And I promise you that it will work out for you. So one of the things that I didn't tell you is we're going to have 10 reasons or 10 tips today. And so I've given you number 1, I've given you number 2, and now we're on number 3. And as a mompreneur, we are pulled in so many directions. I want you to maintain your mindset, and I want you to learn to be present where you are. And I say learn to do that because so many of us have not even been thoughtful of that. We're not conscious of it. And what I mean by that is be present where you are. If you are working, then you are fully engaged in your work. If you are with your family, I want you to be just as engaged, in fact, more so with your family. And just make sure that you consider those things. Be present where you are. I remember when I started my e-commerce business, Hannah Shoebox, I did everything that I learned to do in my how to start a business session. I did research. I had focus groups. I raised capital. I did all of those things because that's what they told me I needed to do, but not one single person in any of those sessions advised me to make sure or even mentioned emotional readiness, because this is a journey, and it is a very lonely journey at times as an entrepreneur. And if you're not mentally prepared for it, I've seen it again where people just give up. So I also talk about the fact that you have to be mentally prepared for this. There's an emotional readiness that must occur when you're starting a business. And if no one else has told you about this particular piece, I am here to tell you, you have to be emotionally ready for this. So another thing that we'll discuss here is one of the things I want to make sure that, again, when you're seeking advice from professionals, just take a little poll, do this amongst yourselves, and see who mentions emotional readiness to you. And if they don't mention it, I want you to ask them. If they're a business owner, I want you to ask them about their own emotional readiness. How did they prepare for it? Did they prepare for it? Was it something that came and hit them out of the blue? Or did another person tell them about it? I'm just always curious to know how people get ready for this. The other thing is we often feel as moms that we have to be superwoman, right? We have to be all things to all people, right? Some of us, if we have kids, for example, we want to make sure that our kids are taken care of and they thrive and they're successful. And those are the things that we're expected to do as moms. But what do we do for ourselves? And what are we doing for our businesses? And when do we know where we need to be? And that is a real thing for us as parents to think about. So I like to give this example of my own daughter, who is my inspiration for starting Hannah Shoebox. After years of being very present with her, I had to miss one of her performances at school. She was a junior in high school at the time. And I just agonized over having not been able to go to her particular choral presentation. And it wasn't that she had a solo or she had this, wonderful part. She was just in the background with everyone else. But I was so used to being there for her. And I just assumed that she felt that I needed to be there. And on the other side, I had a business proposal from someone who was literally out of the country, happened to be in town for a few days. And she set the date for us to meet at a particular time that happened to be on the same night as my daughter's performance. And I just was torn because I literally didn't know what to do. And so, of course, I decided to meet with this particular client because, again, I'd been to all my daughter's performances and I beat myself up on the way home after that event with the customer, because I thought, oh my gosh, I should have been there for my daughter. She how did she do? Did she not do well because I wasn't in the audience? And as soon as oh, let me back up. My husband was there. My mom was there. So she certainly was not alone. So I got home, and as soon as she got home, I greeted her. How was your day? So tell me about performance. And she literally walked past me and said, it was good. She was fine. She was fine. I, on the other hand, was beating myself up for no reason. And it was in that moment that I realized that it was okay. It was simply okay. And that was when I decided that I would be present where I am. I am working when I am working, and I am with my family when I am family. And the line is very clear in the sand for me. But it took a long time to develop that. And I hope that you will do the same. Number 4, be willing to fail. It's going to happen. It is absolutely going to happen. It's going to happen, just period. It's going to occur. Now, the question is, what will you fail at? And then the other question, the follow-up, is how will you recover? You will encounter failure along this journey in some capacity. I guarantee it. It may be distribution. It may be billing cycles. It may be that you hired the wrong person. The list is endless. Again, what will it be for you? But the biggest question that I have for you is, how will you recover? Because that is going to determine whether it is a true failure of the business, or is it just a failure or an incident that happened along your entrepreneurial journey. It's up to you. So here is another quote that I just adore. I have never worked a day in my life without selling. If I believe in something, I sell it, and I sell it hard. From the great Estee Lauder. Now, it's so important that you increase your business skills. And I have so many examples of this, and I'm just going to talk about a few because this is my favorite part of the session today. I was taught early on by another successful entrepreneur to learn every aspect of my business. As an entrepreneur, there are days that I am the marketing department, I'm the shipping department, I'm the delivery department, I am the webmaster. Depending on, you call that number and I'm wearing a different hat, you call back in an hour, I'll have on another different hat, because that's how entrepreneurship works. That is what it looks like. Of course, you hire for all of these positions as you grow, but what happens when there's a staff turnover, or what happens if somebody goes on vacation, or you must step into those positions at any time without a lead time, or what if there's no replacement? You need to know every single aspect of your business. Every single aspect, you need to know something about it, because it could happen, and it very well will happen, that again, you're going to have to step in without a moment's notice. And you're going to be the person who has to go behind the scenes of that website, and you're going to have to change something that was a mistake, or you're going to have to change an inventory item, or you want to do a flash sale. I've done that before, where I want to do a flash sale for, a 12-hour sale. I just simply go in and make it happen, because I know how to do that. And that's what I encourage everyone to do with your business. Know every aspect, learn everything. I also encourage you to use all resources in your area. The Small Business Administration, Small Business Development Council, or Small Business Development Center, SBDC. There's also the Center for Women. They're both ran by the Small Business Administration. Those are my favorite resources. In addition to those, I am a huge, huge fan of accelerators and incubators. And you heard in my introduction that I participated in an incubator at the University of Tampa. And most universities possess these incubators and accelerators. And what they are primarily is they're spaces designed to assist startups with all aspects of learning your business. They also help you with the process of scaling and building a strong foundation. Accelerators and incubators will physically allow you to come to their space for the most part. And the goal is to share knowledge with others as you're building your business. So they offer a slight curriculum, and they expose you to mentors and speakers and other successful entrepreneurs. My time at the University of Tampa's Entrepreneurship Center, for me, was probably the biggest part of building my business foundation, because I got to interact with other successful startups. And you'll be surprised how, why we're not doing this journey in isolation, but the other part of it is you get to throw ideas off of each other, right? You're all in the same boat because you tend to be around the same age in terms of your company's growth and development. And so if your company is 2 to 5 years old, then you're probably incurring a lot of similar problems or challenges, I should say. And so just sitting next to someone who's having the same issue that you're having with social media, perhaps they can tell you how they were able to fix that particular challenge. Or if you're having a challenge with distribution, and someone else will come and say, oh, well, let me show you what I'm doing with my distribution. Or it could even be, how do you reach your particular demographic? Well, let me tell you a source that I use to help me find and define my demographic. So the beauty of being in that space is a community. You're a community of startups, you're a community of those people who are part of that accelerator or the incubator, and you will find that you will grow together. Now, of course, some businesses will outpace others in their growth, but at the same time, you're all learning, and you're learning from experts in the field, and the university is investing in you as a startup, which is a huge benefit to making sure that you're scaling properly. So that is my couple reasons why I absolutely encourage people to take advantage of the community accelerators, incubators. They're not all associated with universities, of course. There are some who are just associated with your particular community. So make sure that you're taking advantage of those as well. Manage your time. Manage your time, and it's so much easier said than done, because again, we are all things to all people, especially those of us who are married, we have partners and or children. The demands are high and do not magically disappear because you started a business. If it helps you, you're not alone in this struggle. Planning your days, your weeks, and even your months will help minimize this dilemma. And I also encourage finding others who can help to be a part of your village, and they will help you. So also in the midst of managing your time, I also highly encourage to add some me time to the calendar as well. Now, mark it in ink in your calendar so it's not erasable. And there's a reason I say that. Here's why. You cannot pour into your business, your family, or anything until your cup is full. Fill your cup to allow others to take from the overflow that drips into the saucer. Again, fill up your cup so that it overflows and the others take from the saucer, because I can't give to you what I don't have. So I have to make sure that my cup is full. Take that time. This is a must. Please trust me on this. And let me also add some tips on networking, because that is another thing that we as women business owners tend to do more so than others. And we do it very differently than men do. But it's also can be a trap. And I've seen this happen because we are, social creatures. We will be engaged in a networking circle, but it doesn't garner any business for us. So I have a rule that we're allowed to be a part of a networking group, and you attend that networking group 3 times. 3 times. And if you don't garner any business from the 3 times that you've attended the functions, it is time to move on. So 1 or 2 things. 1, you're not networking well. 2, it may not be the right group for you. And 3, the most important thing is Time is the greatest resource that you have, and you are now wasting time. So make sure that as we're a part of the networking group and we're making part of that, part of our marketing and branding opportunities, that we're very mindful of what we're doing. Are they paying off for us? Whatever you do, be different. That was the advice my mother gave me, and I can't think of better advice for an entrepreneur. If you're different, you will stand out. Anita Roddick. And that just speaks for itself, because, you know, everyone can have a widget building business, but what makes your widget building business better? Because there has to be something different. Otherwise, why are you in business? Why are you doing what everyone else is doing? But I want to believe that you have discovered something different about your business, something unique about your business, something that has allowed you to find a particular niche. And that is the reason you will stand out. Stand true to that, stay true to it, and you'll definitely see the results. So who are the women business owners? Women business owners are 31%, we know, are small business and franchise owners, according to the Small Business Trends survey results. Now, of that 31%, 50% of women business owners are Gen X. That means they were born in 1965, between 65 and 80. We know that the baby boomers, 1946 to 64, make up 31% of the businesses owned by women, and 17% are millennials, and that they were born between 1981 and 1996, and just 1% are Gen Zers from 1997 to present. Now, I will bet you that we're going to see a huge shift in these numbers really, really soon, because the millennials have a different mindset. That number is going to continue to grow. The baby boomers are starting to retire, getting out of the industry. So these numbers are going to change, and they're going to change very quickly. But as of now, this is where we are. This is who they are. So you're in great company as a woman business owner. Number 7, build and maintain your brand. It's so important to be consistent in your branding and messaging. Who are you and what do you stand for? What are you known for? I sell shoes for tween girls, and eventually I became known as the shoe lady. It was actually a compliment the first time I was at a networking event, and someone came up to me and they said, "Oh, I know you. You're the shoe lady." And it was in that moment that I realized my branding was working. It was working. People associated me with shoes. That was what I had been working so hard for, and it was happening. So are you that CPA, or are you that lady with the auto shop, or are you the cute boutique lady? What do people know you as? Remember that as an entrepreneur, especially a startup, you are your brand. You are your brand. Until you can make others think of the company and not associate that company with you, you are the brand. So just keep that in mind as you go through your day-to-day, that all eyes are on you as you're going through all of your, again, the networking, the business meetings, Zoom calls these days, that people are associating you with that brand. So make sure that you're representing the brand well. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the saying, "I will try again tomorrow." Now, I said earlier that we are not allowed to use the word try, but I will forgive you in this instance, because sometimes it doesn't work out. And just because you didn't do it today, it wasn't completed today, it didn't come to fruition today, it is okay, because we're going to get up and we're going to do it again tomorrow. And if we do this every single day, it will eventually come to fruition. And so that is what I love about this quote. The other part of it is courage. And I believe that courage is a very underused word in our vocabulary. I challenge you to do something new in your business each day. Doesn't have to be a large thing or something on a grand scale, but have the courage to bring a new idea, a skill, or a function into your business and watch how it will spill over into your everyday life. I promise you that your interactions will change just because courage becomes a part of your vocabulary, number one. But number two, it's going to also become a part of who you are. You're going to be more courageous to try new things. So whether it's skydiving or, whether it's zip lining or any of those things, you will find that once you bring that courage into your business every single day, a little something, just something small, something large, if it is appropriate. But think about, I want to be courageous and do something new in my business every single day. And it will, again, start to spill over into your everyday interaction. Number 8, be bold. Be bold, be hungry, and be aggressive. As women, we're often overlooked and discounted when we enter a room and we speak up. It's just historically has been that way. And I want people to realize that there is absolutely no place for this in entrepreneurship. There is no place for this in your business. Do not expect others to speak up on your behalf or be your advocate like you can. It's yours, and be prepared to fight for every single thing. No one will fight for your business the way that you will. I have a friend, I love to golf. And one of the things that one of my golf buddies likes to say is a closed mouth does not get fed. A closed mouth does not get fed. So think about that. If you want something for your business, speak up. No one's going to read your mind. No one has time to read your mind. But if you go out and you ask for something and you expect it and you give a reason why you should have it, people won't ignore you. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to get it, but I am going to say that you can't be ignored. But if you don't speak up, out of sight is very much out of mind too often. So it's okay. The other thing that I want to say is be aggressive. Again, coming up as girls and to women, we were taught to, just be nice and stay calm and all of those things. But the rules have changed. The rules have changed. In fact, they changed yesterday. And so we need to know that moving forward, we as women, entrepreneurs, can no longer just sit on the sidelines and take what's given to us. You must be aggressive in your business. This is how you're going to excel. This is how you're going to scale. I promise you, again, I've seen so many startups along this journey, and many of them are thriving. They're thriving beyond the owner's belief. And I can tell you very clearly that the difference between those who thrive and those who are getting by is that those who thrive were aggressive, they were bold, they were hungry. I saw it and I've seen it. I continue to see it. That is the difference. So make sure that those things are applying to you, and don't apologize for it. And never, ever, ever apologize for being bold, for being hungry, and being aggressive when it comes to your business. 9, know the legal language. Know the legal language. The best advice I received from a business consultant was to start my business with the end in mind. What is your exit strategy? And I know sometimes, and I was in the same situation, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to end it. I'm just trying to get it off the ground. I'm just trying to build it. I'm just trying to, at the time, I just wanted a logo. And I didn't realize the importance of building it the way you want to end it, because there's so many implications that come with that. So let's say you build a business and you want to sell it. Well, it has to be structured for tax purposes. in a certain manner. Let's say you want to pass it down to your kids. Well, it needs to be set up in a certain way. You can't just say, oh, I want to sell the business and I have a buyer, because they're going to come back and look at the structure of it and say, oh, I am so sorry. You're unable to do that at this time. So make sure you're starting with the end in mind. Do you want to go public one day? Do you want this to be on the stock exchange one day? Do you, it's a possibility. Think about that. Dream big. And it's so funny because someone told me that, too often, again, as business, we're so caught up in the weeds. We can't see the forest for the trees, and we don't think about what's beyond the forest, but sometimes other people can see the things that we can't see with our business. And I had someone ask, say something to me about when your company goes public. And I must admit to you that at that time, and we were probably 3 to 4 years into the business, I had never, ever thought about taking my business public. Hadn't crossed my mind. But in that instance, someone saw something in my business that I didn't see in myself. And because of that, the structure, my mindset and the structure of the business changed immediately. So those are the things that we have to think about. Again, we do get caught up in the weeds. And sometimes it's day to day, sometimes it's hour to hour and minute to minute. And I get it as an entrepreneur, as a mompreneur. Because again, we're raising families, we're managing businesses, we're just trying to figure it out. And at the end of the day, what's for dinner? But these are things that are important as well. And they are critical to the sustainability of your business and making sure that you're able to get to the next level. So don't discount the time. Don't discount your ability to make these decisions at this time. So keep those things in mind. Find the funds, right? So why did we start with this particular item? And the reason is because the money's there. The money is there, and it's easier said than done, I understand. But too often we don't look under the rocks. We don't look to places that the money is right there in front of us. Immediately we think we need to go borrow money. We think we have to go to friends and families. Well, guess what? Some people don't have friends and family who can just write them a check for $50,000. And, and I use that number because I was a part of my incubator. There was a person who repeatedly talked about $50,000 that his parents gave him to start a business. And I looked at that and I thought, I don't even know if my dad, before he retired, made $50,000 a year. He made a little bit more than that when he retired. So I didn't come from a family of privilege. And so many people don't come from families of privilege where our parents can write a check for $50,000. But what I did do was I started looking for quote unquote free money. And the free money is there. So I participated in pitch competitions. Every pitch competition that I could find, I was there, because what I realized, it was repetition, right? Once you figure out how to do the pitch the first time, you just take it on the road show. And that's what I did. I took my pitch on the road and I entered contest after contest after contest. And that is what partially funded my business in the initial stages. The other thing that I did was I did the research. I did the research and I had some interns who also did some research for me where we found grants. I will say that since the pandemic, there has been a ton of grants available for women-owned businesses, for minority-owned businesses, for regional businesses. I'm sure your county and your city as well has been giving out money to help businesses for those who have at least started. Now, I don't know many that are giving money for startups at this time if you're just thinking about an idea or if you're still in the concept stages. But if you're up and running and you've been up and running for a few years and you can show this with your tax returns, then obviously a lot of municipalities are supporting businesses because of what happened with COVID-19. So look into those areas. Online, there were numerous corporations, organizations, that were definitely helping to fund women-owned businesses. So the money is there. You know, finding money becomes another job. It really is. So I want you to incorporate that into your daily time. If you divide your time by the week and say, you know, I'm going to devote 50, 60 hours to this business, which is not uncommon for an entrepreneur, then you need to make sure that a portion of those hours are dedicated to finding money. There is no reason why we should be struggling financially today. Again, those are just a few things that you can do to help finance your business. And of course, the traditional routes are there. If you want to go out and find funding, perhaps with a bank, or you want to speak with a venture capitalist, then those are options as well. Again, those options are going to make sure that your business model has been tested and proven, and they're also come with higher stakes, right? So they're going to make sure that there are not any gaps in your business. So make sure that you close all of those potential gaps and then go after that funding from the bank loan. And again, if you want to talk to a venture capital, there are people who will do all types of things to start their business. And I am for every single one of them if it will help you get to the next level. So those are the things that you can think of, but I also encourage people to look for the free money first. Nevertheless, I want you to find the funds. Always go after the money. Show me the money. The money's there. So that concludes my presentation. Again, for those who are joining us live and for those who are on the recorded, listen to this on the recorded version. There's my contact information. Please, please, please contact me if you ever have any questions about the presentation or any questions about the book, Mompreneur, Managing Partnerships, Parenthood and Presentations. The book is available on Amazon. And again, my company is Hannah Shoebox, and that's located at hannahshoebox.com. Feel free to reach out to me via my email, which is also on the screen. If you have any additional questions or follow-up that you may have, feel free to do so. I've enjoyed myself so much, and I always love talking about being a mompreneur. So this has been a wonderful experience. Thank you so much. And thank you, Wendy, and to Holly for the invitation to be here. It's been a great experience.
Thank you, Colette, so much. That was an amazing presentation. And being a mompreneur myself, pre-COVID, not a mompreneur now because of COVID, this was a really helpful presentation and so thorough and inspiring, I think, for so many people. So I did have a couple questions for you that I came up with while I was watching, and I was thinking out loud to myself. And I don't know if you want to go ahead and stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
Yeah. I did put a copy of the link to your book from Amazon in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, as well as I think I put your email there as well, but I'm not sure if I did. But anyways, so excuse me, one of the things I was thinking about was because of COVID and things are different. And you were saying, you know, the money is there now for maybe businesses that were already in business, you know, so that people don't have to shut their businesses. I chose to close ours. That was just kind of what we needed to do. But I was wondering what you were thinking would be one of the biggest challenges for mompreneurs right now in this post-pandemic time as our new normal is yet to kind of emerge. But what do you see as the biggest challenge for mompreneurs right now?
I say thank you, Wendy, that's a great question. And I think the biggest challenge for mompreneurs is reevaluating the business model, because everything has changed. If you have a product-based business, my question is your product still needed? If you have a service business, is it still needed? And if so, on what scale? Here's a case in point. So we sell shoes, it's an e-commerce business. I got hit really hard with COVID because my demographics are girls 10 to 14. And no one was going outside. So as a mom, I wasn't buying my daughter new shoes. She wasn't going anywhere. She was walking around the house barefoot. So, and that was okay. so I had to reevaluate, one, how long can I sustain? How long am I willing to wait? And what is that new normal going to look like? Are parents going to spend at the same level that they were spending before? I think the experience has really taught a lot of people to be frugal, because we don't know what's going to happen. And anything, prayerfully, COVID would never happen to us, but it could be another similar type of experience that financially people were not ready for. So I think people's spending patterns are different. So we as business owners have to reevaluate, is our business still viable? Do we need to pivot? And if you need to pivot, what is the new business model for you? A lot of businesses pivoted during the pandemic, a lot of them. Some of them did well, some of them did not, but you had to be open to that. So my first thought is, this is a time to reevaluate your business and see if it's needed. And if it is, do you need to change it in any capacity? Do you need to scale, or is it time to just cut back a little bit? There are a lot of questions. I think the whole business plan needs to be ripped up and redone.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. So for someone who maybe is kind of on their own and maybe doesn't have a tribe or a community, but they need some ideas or thoughts, like where would people turn to be able to say, or a think tank or ideas about, is my business still going to be needed? And if it is, like you just said, how do I pivot to make sure that I'm reaching the people that need me?
I think the Small Business Development Center is a huge, huge resource. And I don't mean just going in there asking them. One of the reasons I love the Small Business Development Center is their research. They have the research and you can access it. So a lot of the industry reports that we would need. So again, I'm in the footwear industry. If I want to know what's happening in my industry, I can go to the Small Business Development Center and they will give me industry research that will show me that there's a huge decline or there's a huge increase in my market. It would even show you perhaps, the region. Is it that the people in New York are not buying shoes, but the people in Texas are buying shoes? I mean, so that's why I'm such a huge, huge fan of the Small Business Development Center, because of the research that they have that we as regular people just don't have access to unless you're willing to pay thousands of dollars for it. And I just don't have that kind of money for a report when I can go sit down at the Small Business Development Center and get it for free. The other thing is they do have counselors there who can help you navigate those questions. That's what they get paid for. So if you don't have the answer, then I tell people, don't try and figure out by yourself. Just save that energy for something else. But go to the Small Business Development Center, and I promise you that if they don't have the answer, they should point you in the right direction.
Okay, great to know. That's a great resource. So one last question on the flip side of the biggest challenge for what mompreneurs and entrepreneurs in general are facing right now. What's the biggest opportunity that we have?
The biggest challenge, I would say, again, is I think we're all trying to figure this new normal out. Like, we don't know what it is yet. It's been such a gradual process. No one knew that we would be completely shut down for a year. And a lot of us weren't ready. We were not ready for it. So the challenge is, where are we? Basically, who are we? Where are we? What's going on? We're all trying to figure that out. The opportunity, I think, is no one knows. So if we do have something that we want to offer, I think there's so many things that people are going to need that we didn't even think of a year ago, right? But case in point, I was looking, my son got married a few weeks ago. And before the wedding, I wanted, of course, we had to wear masks, but I wanted a stylish mask because, I'm the mother of the groom and I don't want to wear the hospital mask, right? So I'm looking everywhere because I wanted something elegant and I looked everywhere, and I finally, there was a woman in California that makes these masks that are also scarves. So they're fashionable scarves, right? So I thought, how brilliant that this woman thought, we're going to be wearing masks for a while, and I'm going to make them stylish, not just put studs on them or beads or something. Like, it was a whole production, but it was a mask. So the opportunities are there. What is our new normal going to look like? And that is something that each of us are going to have to sit back, take a step back, and just do a whole nother evaluation of where the opportunities are.
Wow. Yep. You're right. You're absolutely right. And just in thinking about that, scarves for young ladies ages 10 to 14 who don't wear footwear but need masks might be a good venture.
They're right. They still have to. We're going to have to cover up for a long time, and especially the younger kids because they don't have the vaccine. So, again, the question is, what do they want to wear? Do they want character masks? Would that encourage them to wear them a little bit more? I don't know, but that is something to think about. We definitely pivoted. One of the things that Hannah Shoebox did is, because no one was wearing shoes, is we start looking at a uniform shoe model, because what I know is going to happen, and we see it happening, is schools are going to be wide open in the fall. And so we started working with some organizations and some schools to be a shoe vendor, because they're definitely going to go back to school. So, we had some time to shift a little bit. And so we're expanding our market to include schools, organizations and associations that buy shoes for kids or for girls.
Well, I think that's so smart. And I think that it can be really challenging to have to take I don't want to say blinders because that has a negative connotation, but we do get caught in a tunnel a little bit about what our businesses need to be. And I think we've all learned something incredibly tough for a lot of people this past year. But it's a resiliency that worldwide we're all experiencing and learning how to do. And this is, like we say, there's no telling what the world will be like, even in a year.
Exactly.
So,
and that's the beauty of it. We don't know. But what I do know about women is we're very innovative and we're very creative. And so if there's a solution to be found, we will come up with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Colette, thank you so much for spending time with us today, and for your amazing presentation, and for your gentle nudging and support of mompreneurs and entrepreneurs for everybody, because I think we all can use that advice. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. You have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.